Well, you missed the big gala there the other night. So,
Yes, we had a few people there though from the office. I hear it was really well done.
oh
A
yeah,
good time.
absolutely. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Well, I heard lots of good things about it. I heard the meal was lovely and the music was good. So,
Yeah. Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody to the Economic Expansion Committee, November 18th of 2024. I need an approval of the agenda.
I'll make that motion.
Okay.
Paul
do I have
Minier.
I'll
okay,
second that.
Okay. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Contrary by nay. Oh, is there any conflict of interest? Conflict of interest? All right, so we'll move on to the roundtable introductions. So I'm going to start off. I'm Kevin Nicklin. I'm the chair and the mayor of Grand Lake.
No, that's not the issue.
Okay. Paul, do you want us to go next, I guess?
Sure. Paul Minier, Ward 2 Councillor for Arcadia and chair of their Economic Expansion Committee.
Okay. I really can't see who's online on my phone, so
okay. I'll go. I can go next if you like. Susan
Okay.
Jonah. I'm the deputy mayor of Hanwell.
I'll go next. Mayor David Hayward, Mayor of Sunbury York South and Vice Chair of the Economic Development Committee.
Nice. My turn. Greg Erickson. I'm a councillor of the City of Fredericton. Thank you.
Victoria,
I'll go next.
did you?
Yeah, Victoria Green from Nashwauk Rural Community. I'm a councillor.
Don, if you want to jump in there.
Oh, muted.
Oh, you're muted.
There we go. I have a dog. I continue to mute all the time. My name is Don Fitzgerald, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer of the Commission.
Okay. Kelly.
Hi, I'm Kelly Shaw. I'm the board secretary.
And I'm John Smith, CEO of the Capital Region Service Commission. And I see we have our team, Mr. Chair from Ignite, so I'll ask them to introduce themselves. And I do know that the Capital Region Tourism Gang is having some technical difficulties, so hopefully they'll be able to chime in right after Ignite.
okay.
Folks, I'm Paula Lair. I'm the Director of Marketing Communications here at Ignite.
Hi, everybody. I'm Nosheen Ali, Director of Workforce Development and Attraction at Ignite.
Hi, all. I'm Andrew Lockhart, Director of Entrepreneurial and Economic Growth.
Okay. All right. I guess.
Mr. Chair, we'll just see if the Capital Region Tourism Gang were able to make it on here. They were having some difficulties on that.
Okay.
Apologies, we're still trying to figure out our the video, unless you want to watch us upside down. But this is Stacey Russell, so we'll keep working on this. Know that we're here. So Stacey Russell, I'm joined by David Seabrook, as well as our Andy McDonald Spares marketing.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Well, I guess without further ado, we'll start out with the presentation from Ignite for plans for 2025.
Well, thank you. I'll jump in. Kelly, I'm not sure if you will be putting up the slides.
Oh, sorry. That's up to you.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, just give me a second. I'll try and put the slides.
I'll start talking as Nosheen puts up the slides, and we can share a screen afterwards. But yes, thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, the committee, for taking the time and the real estate out of your day to hear us talk about all things Ignite in 2025. Again, my name's Andrew. I'm joined by my esteemed colleagues, Paula and Nosheen. My team actually reminded me last week that as of last week, I'm 5 years at Ignite, and it's something to think about. When I started at Ignite was in November of 2019, and when I when we worked with our business community, a lot of the challenges we were facing were in many things such as business plan support, sales, marketing. There's some access to capital in there and things like that. And since then, as you all know, we're hitting topics such as housing, healthcare, supply chain, inflation, all of these things that weren't traditionally addressed or weren't top of mind back in the day, but now, of course, they're top of mind every day. And so Ignite being the economic development agency, it's important for our clients and our communities to ensure that the support, the work that we're doing is relevant to our clients and everything we're working towards. So that's why we've worked towards 3 main initiatives, which I want to start. Can everybody see that slide? Just want to make it clear.
Mhm.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's 3 initiatives I wanted to talk about before we break it down between our 3 pillars here at Ignite. By addressing all of these new issues and things like that, we've really broken down our strategic approach into lead, convene, and deliver. And I'll walk you through some of these. Lead, pretty self-explanatory, but lead is really taking is leading the files that drive regional economic development for our region here in the capital region. And a prime example of that would be the Vision 2030, which most, if not all of you, were involved in some capacity in participating in that. But that Vision 2030 it sets the course for our strategic approach in economic development moving forward. And that final and moving forward with that, the convening is something that is critical when it comes to a lot of the new challenges that we face. So when we look at some of these challenges, maybe the regional economic development agency in any area wouldn't traditionally take ownership of it. But when you have topics such as housing, healthcare, and things like that, they impact economic development nonetheless. So whether or not Ignite is at the table or Ignite is creating the table to ensure that the key stakeholders, industry leaders, and the community are in one space talking about these challenges that impact everything, including economic development, that's been a really key area to address. A prime example of that, I think 2 weeks from now, or maybe next week, actually, we're hosting a housing learning day. And that's an opportunity for our municipal leaders to learn from leading organizations tackling housing through innovative resources. That one's just a prime example where we need to convene. We may not own it, but we need to bring everyone together to help address those challenges. The last one is deliver. You've heard us talk about that countless times, but very, very critical, important. It's the programming, it's the initiatives, it's the solutions that drive measurable impacts on economic growth and workforce development. It's our bread and butter. And one of the things, and I'm going to hand it off here in a moment to Paula, is when we talk about our scorecard, when we talk about our KPIs, it leads into when Sarah and I were presented to this committee, I believe back in March, we talked about our goal pyramid. And at the top of that is jobs. The bottom is KPIs that lead into the strategies of our business growth and workforce strategies that lead into jobs. And so I'll hand it over for the next slide. I'll hand it over to Paula, and she'll walk you through some of the KPI scorecards.
Thank you, Andrew, through the chair. Just wanted to really quickly overview our corporate key performance indicators, otherwise known as our KPIs. I won't go into a great amount of detail about each specific bucket that you see there, because we'll be getting more into that as we go into our pillars and we break into those, and they'll be explained much more fruitly than I would do here. But as Andrew alluded to, the job creation and support for full-time employment, that's our number one KPI. So that's the one thing that sort of everything else hinges around. On the left-hand side of the slide, you'll see our objectives. And these are really our mantra. It's what Ignite kind of stands for. It's what we work towards every day, day in and day out, in our work that we do, fostering and furthering developing healthy business communities, enabling workforce development and labor force growth, and helping to create investment-ready communities. And all of those KPIs that you see on the right-hand side in that table with all those lovely objectives and numbers for 2025, that really helps us to achieve those objectives as well. They play a pivotal role in helping to shape our strategic goals as we move forward. And eventually those goals and those strategies lead up into Vision 2030. So you can see how it's definitely a full circle and a full strategy to keep ourselves on track and making sure that we're delivering what we promised to do and keeping businesses and communities healthy. And I will now throw it back to Andrew on the business growth team to really talk about his pillar.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you, Paula. So yeah, there's a couple things I wanted to touch upon when it comes to business growth and business development, growth and retention in all of our sectors here in the capital region. There's going to be there's some minor differences, but we're still getting the basics, the accountability, the responsibility that we have to our clients, to our businesses, the KPIs that we have. But there's three key areas we wanted to prioritize a little more than the rest, in addition to what we did last year. When we did our business retention and expansion survey last year, one of the key areas for when businesses were talking about the challenges they were facing, access to capital came up as one. So we always provided support to our businesses, but they could have been in key sections of the business life cycle. One of the key areas we're doing with capital access support is helping businesses secure external funding through various forms of capital, but from the beginning and walking them through that step, and of course tracking and ensuring we're keeping an eye on the businesses and tracking all the businesses that are able to, from touch point, tell us that they have that challenge, and then when they secure that funding. We're getting a little more in depth with it. And the same goes for both business growth and export readiness. So with business growth, it's not only about job support, it's about job creation rather, it's about expansion. So are the businesses expanding, franchising, et cetera? Are they growing? We're seeing more and more businesses, if when they're asking for capital, such as from the impact loan or seed grant, they have intentions of expansion in other jurisdictions, mostly starting in the capital region, but still, like, even if they want to grow, we want to see that growth. And so all the work we've been doing with our programming and our support is now for lack of a better term, a journey that our businesses can be able to start and go all the way to succession. So we've created that infrastructure. Export readiness is if I can elaborate a little more, because with the regional economic development mandate, export falls under the provincial economic development, so Opportunity New Brunswick. That being said, we work with ONB to ensure our businesses are export ready. So they're getting to that stage where we can, for lack of a better term, hand them off to ONB. We'll never fully hand them off, but to when they're at the export file, that's where ONB comes in. A lot of our businesses are trying to get there. So we've already actually started programming and working with ONB on that file, but these are the three areas that we're tracking more in depth to get to that stage. So if we want to take a look at the next slide, is driving investment and growth. We consistently get questions, whether it's from clients, stakeholders, partners, about questions. It could be as simple as, what's the population of the capital region? What's the GDP of certain areas and things like that. So we do track all of that information. But you'd be surprised with how complex a simple question of what's the population of the capital region, because we're dealing with a federal agency, Statistics Canada, which defines borders sometimes in a different way for the capital region, and take that to provincial boundaries and hack and slash certain areas and punch with those numbers. So we've done all of that. We have an economic specialist who does that stuff, and it's all on the website. But it's what we're finding is the information component of all of this has been critical, and we're ensuring that information is up to date and relevant. Our capital region profile, the entity profiles, which really seeps into, for example, our investment scorecard that helps us walk through the key assets to an area to show that the community is aware of what it has and what it doesn't have, so it's ready. So same idea when it comes to investment attraction. It is under the OMB, but it's important that we are working with our communities to ensure their investment's ready. So if OMB comes with a business or anything like that, that we have all of the information in place and we're ahead of it and we're ready for it. So that's just a quick update on what we're lined up. I'm going to hand it over to Nosheen to walk you through some of the workforce things next.
Okay. Well, thank you, Andrew. The two major things on the workforce side that we're focusing on for next year are two strategies. One is the workforce development strategy that we have in place through our labor market partnership. And the second is the connection, attraction, integration, and retention strategy, the CARE strategy that we're planning to launch moving into January. So talking about the workforce strategy first, we are currently in year 3 of the implementation plan. And that plan is usually submitted to the labor market partnership that we have, which we call the CREW, the Capital Region Employment and Workforce Partnership. The partners that sit on that committee are ourselves, Ignite, the CRSC, ONB, Working NB, ACOA, and CBDC, and the Chamber of Commerce. And these partners all come together and review the implementation plan. Our current implementation plan for year 3 is in the works right now. Our year goes on from July to June next year. So right now, whatever targets we had set for the first 2 quarters, I think we're pretty much aligned with them. The targets are very simple. The first is job creation. And when we say job creation support, it's the organizations that we work with, that we bring into our job fairs, that we provide capacity to, that we provide cultural competency to, the jobs that those organizations create while they're working with us, and we provide the human resource to fill in those jobs. That's a win-win for both parties. Just last week, Friday, we wrapped up a huge job fair for this year. It was the last for this year, but next year we plan to do some more job fairs all across the region. Our team is currently planning for that, which is a big part of what we do, which is a big part of bringing the workforce and the employers on one platform so that they have access to each other. And it goes side by side by building capacity. So, if you have seen our social media, we're all over the place about increasing capacity in various fields of work, like skilled trades is one of the top ones, agriculture, healthcare. We're focusing on all these areas and bringing in experts that talk about what this industry is all about, and what sort of skill set do you need, and where to go for the right qualifications and things like that to be able to work in those fields. That is our focus for next year. Talking about the CARE strategy, some of you have been part of the conceptualization of this whole project. We started working on it early this year. Right now, we have a final strategy document ready to be presented to partners, and you would soon, the partners that are part of the task force would soon receive an invitation to look at this strategy. This is completely co-created. We have made sure that we received feedback and contribution from all the partners in the ecosystem that we work with, and those that would include partners like the municipalities, the Regional Service Commission, the multicultural associations, the Chamber of Commerce. Whichever partner is serving newcomers in their own respective regions are part of this task force. And they have given in their contributions and their feedback into the development of this strategy. There are certain objectives that have been identified, which fall under the ambits of connection, integration, retention, and attraction. And there are specific objectives that would be divided over the next 3 years. So the operations would be planned according to that. Again, activities like our programs like the Economic Empowerment Program for women, the Integration Success Program for international students, the Connector Program, the cultural competency trainings, all this will fall under, the objectives for this new strategy. And with that, I will hand over to Paula to talk about Marcoms.
Thank you, Nosheen. Thanks, everybody, and through the chair. I just wanted to kind of tee it up by saying that marketing and communications as a team, we are core services. So we really and truly support the great work that both of these pillars do and all of the activities and events and things that are organized through Ignite. That's really our role, is to make sure that we are communicating our impact, we're engaging our audience, and we're communicating what it is that Ignite does and elevating our brand. So with that, our focus really going into 2025 and our business plan is really setting the stage on storytelling. In order to be effective, we know that we need to expand our reach and our audience. So efforts are really going to be put into this year, storytelling through on-the-ground engagement. So our team traditionally, the marketing and communications team we're inside the office, head down, getting the work done. This year, we really want to lift our heads up and get out into the entities and across the region and really kind of open some doors to businesses, start talking to some people, identifying some great podcast themes and some guests to come on our Locked On Local podcast and really elevate that to a new level. We want to be able to also take our results that we have every quarter. I'm sure that Joe Public isn't looking on our website to read our quarterly reports, even though they are there. So what we want to do is we want to add a bit of a flashy dashboard with our quarterly results on a real time. Every quarter, those will be updated. So we want to create a little bit of buzz and excitement around how we're reaching the KPIs and the great work that the entire team does throughout the year. We also want to get the team out into the entities. So the Marcoms team has been mapping out times of year that are best to visit each of you across the capital region. Maybe it's going to a specific festival and dropping into a local business that day and doing some shopping, stopping for lunch, and then really putting that full story together and putting it out onto our socials and telling that story and elevating the impact of what we do and how we impact the businesses that we do work with. So that leads into our client impact stories. And that's another thing that we're looking at doing, as well as aligning our website to be more user-friendly. We've really taken a step back and looked at the use of our website here at Ignite and realized a lot of it's industry speak and a lot of it is more our language. We want it to be more friendly for, the average person that wants to maybe start a business or a newcomer that's just landed here. We want them to be able to identify with the services and the activities and the events that we do, to bring them in and to really engage with them and get them into our pipeline so that we can help them and foster a good economic profile for them and for the region as well. And I think that wraps it up for marketing and comms. Does anybody have any questions? Or for the whole team, really?
Well, that's what I was just going to ask. If there was any questions from anybody, now would be the time. Well, I guess I would have one question for you is, how did you feel that you performed last year and what the response has been?
I can jump in first one on that one. So my initial reaction is going to be great, but we're actually not finished the year. And I say that because we're actually in depth into Global Entrepreneurship Week. So my team alone has 7 or 8 events this week, all centered around client-focused programming and support. And I think actually that the events today we had will be a great example of the work that we've been working towards is the quality that we're trying to give. So we started with a client focus. All of the programming and support we do comes from client business challenges that we've been told. So we've reshaped everything. And so now we're implementing and executing all of these programs that are designed for our clients. And a prime example is today we had 2 programming, and anybody in event planning, I don't like to be in event planning, it can be challenging, but anybody in event planning can say that I think traditionally, if you get 100 people, register for a program, expect 50. You always get around 50%. That's at least what I've been told. But the 2 main events we've had so far probably had 80 to 90% registered, meaning they're showing up because it's what they needed. And that's really encouraging. So long answer to your short question is we're so far, the year's not completed. We are seeing those numbers with results in programming and support.
And I would second that. I think so far, the KPIs that we projected for this year, we're in pretty good shape. I think we have achieved almost 100% of those KPIs already. And we still have to report on the last quarter. So the results are going to be good, but it's not just on paper. We have started compiling client feedback, testimonials, stories, and we have come up with some great stories with people that have used our programs and have really benefited for them. So which is a testament to the success.
Okay. Great. Is there any further questions?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I see Member Erickson has his hand up there.
Okay, thanks.
I do, Mr. Chair. Thank you. I forgot that you're operating from a small screen device. I should have chimed in earlier. Anyway, thank you very much for your report and for the team's look off into the future. I guess I have a comment as much as a question. Our new provincial government this week has drafted and distributed mandate letters to its ministers. And I know your presentation does exist at a certain level of generality when it comes to what we're looking at in the next year. Just hoping you can comment on our ability to pivot to some opportunities that may be coming around the corner from the provincial government, and how we might see your activities dovetail with new opportunities that we see from them.
No, thank you for the question. I think it's a very interesting time with 1 week we had the local government change, and then last week I attended the Atlantic Economic Council presentation in St. John, and that was the morning after the American election. So you can imagine the conversations were happening about export and things like that. So it really ties into how I opened the presentation with the amount of change that we're consistently seeing, ensuring that we're up to date and relevant. Pertaining directly to your question, a lot of we're part of the strategies we are continuously working with our stakeholders and partners, and in particular, we've already stayed up to date with who the relevant ministers and MLAs and things of that matter is to get into those conversations. A prime example is you're right, this presentation we kind of stated, in particular business growth, I'll speak on behalf of myself here, high level with some of the key initiatives, but we have it broken down in particular when we talk about new business and startup. We actually this year will be looking, we haven't even broken down further into innovation in particular. It's how are we ensuring that those businesses focus more on innovation, starting an innovation, have the support they need. And so that's already a conversation that's been happening. So it's those types of things like we keep that conversation going. We're ensuring that we're not only at the table, but even making sure we're facilitating that table. We're having those conversations.
Outstanding. Because the new minister responsible for ONB is Luke Randall, who's Fredericton MLA. And for, gosh, it's been years since that's been the case. So I hope we can take advantage of his proximity, and also, any issues that pop up to be proximate. If it turns out that Horizon needs help attracting doctors by doing small business planning and, the kind of things that doctors need in order to, execute a billing number in our province, we should be in a position where we can pivot to make sure that we take the greatest advantage of those opportunities as they show up. And I know you're way out ahead of me on these files. So anyway, good to hear. Thank you much.
Okay, well,
Mr.
thank you.
Chair,
Yeah.
oh, sorry, our the Vice Chair, Director Hayward, sorry, has a question.
Okay. Dr. Hayward.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did have one quick question for Paula. I'm just trying to understand the vision they had with regards to the flashy dashboard. You said getting out in the communities and having the lunches and having the discussions and so on. Did I catch that correctly? You mentioned feature businesses that will be promoted through this process?
What we would be doing, David, is looking for success stories, and that would mainly be through our business development officers as they're out in the entities, and then they work with businesses. If there are any sort of really impactful stories, yes, we would be going out and seeking out those stories and connecting with businesses. Just a little bit further to go down that road on expanding audience and really kind of getting the name of Ignite and what we do and our impact out into communities, we're really also looking at assistance from each of the entities to be sharing and feeding us as well with those stories. So for example, in your entity, you may have, somebody that you're really passionate about, or a business that you know about that's just launching, and we would love to hear those stories and kind of keep those connections going. So in the next few weeks, I'm going to be reaching into each of the entity offices to speak directly with those responsible for marketing and comms, because I think there might be a little bit of a disconnect there, and it's up to me to make sure that we're fostering those connections and relationships so that you folks have the tools that you need to also promote what we do across your entities. And that's part of that expanding our audience reach. Did I answer your question?
Yes. I'm just curious if there might be a collaborative opportunity between the municipalities and your office to do just that kind of thing, to promote collaboratively with you, these individual businesses and entities starting out.
Absolutely.
Okay, nothing else. Thanks.
Okay, thank you. Is there anything further?
I don't see any other hands up, Mr. Chair. At this point in time, I would just like to recognize that Member Mawhinney has joined our meeting as well.
Okay, thank you. Well, on behalf of the Economic Expansion Committee, we want to thank you for your presentation today, and you're more than welcome to stay for the presentation, exciting presentation on tourism coming up. And but at this point, thank you again.
Thanks very much, guys.
Okay, David, I guess it's you're up for the tourism.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I said Kelly, I'm not sure. Stacy, I guess you guys are going to run the presentation, or are we going to?
We'll give it a try. It just seems to really feels like a Monday today over here. Technology has not been working for us.
Yeah.
All right, can you all see that? The presentation?
Yep. Oh,
yes.
there you go. Yep.
Fantastic. Okay. Just make sure that they're seeing. And can you see it full video now, or full slide?
Yep.
Yes. Okay. All right. Well, then I won't keep you waiting. So one of the big what I wanted to start with was being able to remind you all that this is really a snapshot. I wanted to give you a snapshot because we will be reporting the full results in April, like we would have done last year, coordinating as well when it's promoted to the presented to the entire tourism industry. So, but there are some really exciting information that we wanted to celebrate today with you, and give you some sneak peeks at some items that won't really be launched actually until 2025. So it was a great opportunity to be able to go through this with you today. So we'll go to the next slide. So we'll start off first with, this was last week, last Thursday evening, in fact, at the Tourism Industry Association of New Brunswick, the award banquet. Both myself and Dave Seabrook were sitting at this table, joined by 3 different communities. So you can see on the left, we have OG Ales And then in the middle, Big Axe Brewery, and then over to the right, we have Minto Mountain Bikes. So each one of them were award nominees for the New Brunswick Tourism Industry Association Awards.
Point of order, Mr.
which-
Chair. I don't think the slides are advancing as they're being described.
Yeah, I was just gonna say the same thing.
Okay, so maybe Kelly, we're gonna get you to take it, just to be really safe here.
I can do that.
There we go.
Yeah, there we are.
1 second here, please. Oh, that's not it.
Stacy said it's really feeling like a Monday.
It
Yeah.
really is. Thank you everyone for your patience.
It's a Monday. I did have it open, but it has closed. Just 1 second.
So what I can do though is I'll explain to you that so they were also Minto Mountain Bike and Off Grid Ales were award nominees for sustainable business, of which Minto Mountain Bike won for they're competing against businesses, tourism properties all across the province. So Minto Mountain Bike won, and Big Axe Festival was also nominated in Small Festival and Event. So it was a really inspiring evening. So in addition as well, we had Jenna's Nut Free Dessertery out of Fredericton won for Indigenous Business of the Year. So fantastic evening celebrating some wonderful properties and businesses within the Fredericton Capital Region. So can you now all see there would be a photo with the red? Perfect. Okay. So Kelly, if we can go to next slide, please. So what I wanted to do was celebrate as well and give you this was where I mentioned in terms of some you are literally getting it hot off the press of we got our October occupancy results at 1 o'clock today, which would probably be some of the best we've ever seen. Definitely the best in Atlantic Canada for the month of October. We saw a 12.2% increase in occupancy for October, which is we're very, very happy about, which also gives us year over year, we're up 3.3%. So, which is fantastic. We're seeing that that is not happening with all municipalities across the Maritimes. So, and we're also seeing a 12.2 in room sales. So a 12.2 increase in room sales as well. So with that, some of the highlights before our 1 o'clock email today, when I provided this presentation. So August, summer was a fantastic month, or a fantastic season within the Fredericton Capital Region. August in particular, with an 85% occupancy. We did an awful lot, as we're going to talk about in this presentation, to be able to draw visitors within the Fredericton Capital Region, promoting the region as a whole, and then moving them around the region. So we'll talk about that a little bit, including of the PGA Tour Americas. This is a fantastic opportunity. We'll get into more in further slides, but something that we're working with New Brunswick Tourism on, and some great opportunities to be able to promote golf within the Fredericton Capital Region. As well, hook and paddle fishing. So this is last year in 2020. I apologize if I say last year. To me, we are deep into 2025 already. So for in 2024, this year, we saw 6 different host locations for this hook and paddle. So we're going to talk about how we've partnered with them this year and as we look ahead to 2025. And as well, the Pan American Black Bass Tournament. So that took place in Fredericton as well as Nakawik. That opportunity, which saw 10 nations represented, and was a fantastic showing and profile of the Wolastoq River. So in addition, we're also leveraging the Tourism Accommodation Levy. That is what TAL is, the Tourism Accommodation Levy funds, and being able to do things much bigger based on having these marketing dollars. So if we'll go to the next slide, we'll be able to explain that a little bit. So with that, in terms of the promotion within the as I mentioned, we promote the region as a whole. So as we're doing promotions, as you can see, one of the examples up here is Porter campaign that we that just went to market over the last 2 weeks. So having a little bit of fun with Crab Mountain. So the raccoon's always doing interesting things around the Fredericton Capital Region. So this is a partnership that we do with New Brunswick Tourism of leveraging dollars of our investment, and then the province matches it. And then Porter matches it all. So taking this and going into market. So in this one in particular, it's Ontario market. We also do the same thing with WestJet as well as Air Canada. Air Canada is about, we have a campaign that'll start in December, focusing on Montreal to be able to promote those flights. So in addition, through the Tourism Accommodation Levy marketing funds, we've been able to work with WestJet. And I don't know if anybody caught the announcement today of WestJet will be increasing loads by 41% for next summer. So that's almost doubling their capacity. It's a fantastic announcement and something that we're able to do, again, by leveraging some of those tourism accommodation levy dollars and promoting in markets to really get the message across. So going back to the, in terms of our marketing, so it's, what we do is we want to be able to get more visitors to the region, but then it's also of looking at our experiences program, which we'll talk about a little bit, but it's about circulating those visitors and getting them around the Fredericton Capital Region, doing all sorts of different products and experiences. In terms of those markets, they include Ontario, Quebec, New England, and the Maritimes, all very important and items that we are in both on our own as Fredericton Capital Region, but as partnerships, as I'd mentioned on the example of Porter, where we can of being able to leverage investments and get in, be able to make a bigger impact. So we'll go to the next. Sorry. Can we go back one more, Kelly? One other thing I want to mention on the marketing side is something that all of your properties would have experienced this summer, and which is we've been out with for photo shoots, video shoots, shooting different assets, and making sure that all of those businesses are getting copies of those photos and videos so that they can use it within their own marketing. So it's something that's quite important and very important to us of, if we're going to make those investments, we want to make sure that the businesses have it to be able to also promote the region as a whole. So we'll go to the next slide, please. So in terms of Fredericton Capital Region tourism's major sectors, so we've talked a little bit here about leisure already, of some of that marketing and where we're going with that. So the leisure would be the visitor. So as we go out on a vacation somewhere, we are a leisure traveler. Other very important ones would be sport. So sport, we talked about some of the fishing tournaments, the Pan Am. There's been other various tournaments that are happening around the region. So it's about being able to take these opportunities of getting people here to the region and then promoting the region as a whole to be able to move them around and really get that economic impact in those drivers. The same thing with meetings and conventions. The majority of meetings and conventions, we'll be honest, will take place. They're coming to Fredericton, they're coming to that convention space. The important part, and something that we constantly talk to our meeting planners about, is pre and post. Most people, if you've attended a conference and you've gone away, you want to take advantage of being into a different destination and add a vacation to it as well. So it's about raising awareness of all the things you can do around the region and really trying to encourage those additional nights, either on the front or the back end. Motor coach, now as you see a photo there on there, so our sales team is out trying to get Fredericton and the Capital Region on these itineraries. We've seen more and more motor coach. This was definitely a market that took a really big hit during COVID. Fredericton has been the strongest advocate to be able to see the return of motor coach in New Brunswick, and we're seeing great results led by Mary Ellen Hudson in our office. So of getting Fredericton back on those itineraries and seeing more and more buses within the Fredericton Capital Region. And then lastly, travel media, another area that we've seen some fantastic leaps and bounds on. Of Mary Ellen Hudson also runs this market of getting travel writers out and around the region, depending on what their interests are. So it could be of being able to visit some domes. It could be of hitting the Garrison Night Market and being out and around the downtown. So there's been a lot of different media traction that we've been able to pick up from travel writers, and there's a lot to be able to sell around the region. And Mary Ellen continues to work with businesses throughout the Fredericton Capital Region to learn of new products, new offerings, and she's constantly pitching different ideas to media. So with that, we'll go to the next slide. So if I'd have been in the room with you all would have looked behind me to see if Rose was walking in. So Rose plays a very, very important role in promoting the Fredericton Capital Region and working with industry. So in terms of some numbers, so she's visited more than 110 operators this year alone. She's out, she's around, she is the biggest supporter and cheerleader for all businesses around the region. So so here are some examples. I'll be perfectly honest, when I asked her to provide me with a slide, I swear she gave me about 5 pages. So there's lots of different great examples, but I'm summarizing it just to give you some quick hits. So assisting with funding applications. So in these situations, it could be festival funding grants with New Brunswick Tourism, but at the same time, she's also hearing of other different funding opportunities, as well as working with Ignite Fredericton, where there's different funding sources through Ignite. So encouraging and promoting training opportunities. We want to see the tourism industry grow and provide them with as many opportunities for growth as possible. So it's continuing to work in those one-on-one relationships, putting industry in touch with the appropriate people. Highlighting and celebrating tourism leaders. You saw a little bit of that with the Tourism Industry Association of New Brunswick awards last week. We also have Minto Mountain, OG Ales is also up for a TIAC award. So that's the Tourism Industry Association of Canada. So of nominating, really recognizing these key leaders and trying to encourage more within the region. As well, we hosted 6 sold out Google Business workshops for industry. So these workshops, it's really important for visitors to be able to know and to be able to find these businesses around the region. So the workshops ranged from, we had a number of beginner workshops, and then we were able to identify what operators wanted to be able to see more. So we also offered intermediate workshops as well. So this will continue. We will continue to offer these one-on-one and group opportunities as operators are asking for it. So, and as well, we're very busy, as I mentioned. I keep confusing my year, calling this 2025. So we're deep into 2025 already with a number of programs, which I'll talk about in a later slide, of Dine Around Freddie, Dinners on Us, Frostival, paddling, and so much more. So we'll go to the next slide, please. So building our position, I referenced this a little bit earlier, of there are really some important items that we've talked about, and Dave has met with different people around within your regions on some of these initiatives, but it's areas that bind the region together. So some of those are golf. So we take, sure, PGA Tour Americas is taking place at Mactaquac Golf Course, but there are a number of golf courses around the Fredericton Capital Region. So of really working with our marketing team, our travel media team to be able to get the media exposure, but of promoting golf within the Fredericton Capital Region. You'll start to see that as well within our promotions and whatnot in 2025. So fishing, it would be the same. So we have really, we've really taken a position in terms of fishing, of the creation of new fishing events. There's another new one that will be announced. We're looking at for coming up in 2025, partnerships with Hook and Paddle. So how are ways that we can promote our waterways and be able to raise awareness and get more people out fishing on the waterways and booking with operators. And then lastly, paddling. So paddling, as I mentioned, Dave has been around the region meeting with all of the communities. We've had a fantastic result on this. We're going to talk a little bit more about what's being done for paddling in upcoming slides. But first, we'll go to the next slide and talk about golf. So golf, as I mentioned, PGA Tour Americas, we partnered with New Brunswick Tourism, Heritage and Culture. But the other part about this that not many people realized is that this was a 5-year opportunity. So we still have 4 more years, or opportunity of 4 more years to be able to work on this. So we really doubled down on the opportunity in year 1. So as you can see on the first photo, it's a picture of some of our team as well as some of our students. So we were on site for what we call an activation. So we had a wheel with all sorts of different prizes. We had information from a number of the operators, as well as we had a number of operators from the Fredericton Capital Region with us. So that wheel had prizes all around the Fredericton Capital Region. And it was really about being able to profile all you can see and do to not only golfers, but attendees of the tournament to be able to get them around and visiting the region. The other piece that we did was second photo is on top of it's at the Lakeway Houseboat. We took this opportunity to really take a strong stance on a sales side of bringing in different sport organizations to be able to talk. So so the gentleman in the red shirt, that's Pat Olson, who runs our sport tourism. So what Pat did was, so he was working with, there was pickleball, I think, in this photo, as well as a couple other different sport organizations, growing that relationship and encourage them to consider the Fredericton Capital Region for their next event. So both activations had a fantastic result, and now we're looking at what can we do that's bigger and better moving into 2025. So, but of really positioning the region as that golf destination. So we'll go to the next slide. So fishing, as I mentioned, we have a partnership with Hook and Paddle. So in 2024, they had 6 different locations, and they're getting ready to launch their locations for the 2025 season. So it's really about, as I mentioned, supporting tournament development. So the Pan American Black Bass Tournament, as well as the tournament, the Bass Tournament in Nakawik. But it's also of working with operators to be able to see new opportunities. An integrated marketing approach. So not only did we work in terms of building tournaments, but then we also, as you'll see here soon, we had photo and video crews out to be able to get different photography and videos that we can use to be able to profile Fredericton as a fishing destination. We had a lot of media that were in. So Fish in Canada and Fish TV, for those are 2 that we did in partnership with New Brunswick Tourism. You will see their episodes next year as we get ready in promoting the 2025 season, and as well the Hook and Paddle partnership. So what I want to do, so remember, I did promise you guys a couple sneak peeks. So I'm really hoping technology's on my side for this. So we're going to go. So before we flip over, Kelly, I do want to give a little, so this is a 30-second video. What we had was Hook and Paddle when they did the Fredericton and Nakawik tournaments. We partnered with Hook and Paddle, as well as a local Emily Rogers, who's a local fish guide. But really, the important part with Emily is the fact that Emily, for the most part, does not do much for fishing around the Fredericton Capital Region. She does most of her work internationally. So she has an amazing audience and very niche opportunity for us to promote and position Fredericton Capital Region, and also leverage her social media. So with that, we'll let's fingers crossed that this 30-second video is going to work. So it's over on the next slide. Okay. Uh-oh, we need volume though. Kelly, is it possible to get volume? Okay, we might not be lucky.
What were you saying, Stacy?
We didn't have any volume. Did anybody have volume?
No.
Okay,
No.
maybe it's because I was muted. Let's try this again.
Okay. No. There's right in the you see how distribution right around that end at the beginning had it muted, but yeah, I don't think today's my day. Okay. Yeah, so we'll continue on to the next slide. The videos just aren't it today. So okay. So in terms of the paddling network, so this is really this is probably one of the most exciting things we've been working on over the last while, because really every time that I hear of Dave going in for a presentation, it's really being I almost feel wrong giving this slide and feel like Dave should actually talk on this one. Dave, did you want to? If you want to move so that they can see him and see.
Yeah, just briefly, we've been, as you know, over the last 6 months to a year, we've been working on this concept of a paddling network for the capital region. Again, as Stacy said, using our waterways as a way to bind us together. Not only in the city of Fredericton, but across the region, we're starting to see communities offer up new launch sites. And that's providing the infrastructure for visitors to be able to put in and take out. We have some of the greatest paddling for the recreational market anywhere in Atlantic Canada, if not the country. And we just need to make sure we have the infrastructure to get people on the water, and then over time build the businesses and opportunities for rentals and guiding to get people around. So then our next step, in addition to continuing to work with communities to grow launch sites, over the winter, spring, and summer, we'll be mapping the routes and building a website, and we'll probably sometime, I think, late spring or midsummer, be launching the paddling network, and which will be called the Wolastook Watershed Paddling Network, because the Wolastook watershed is the common element that binds us all together and sort of incorporates the whole area and pays tribute to the Indigenous heritage. We've got Percy Sokobe, renowned artist, if you're familiar with the airport, Departure Lounge mural. He was the artist that did that, and he's doing a logo for us. And like I said, we hope to, we're sort of doing this as a skunk work project quite quietly, but we're building up our video assets, our mapping, our routing, and building a website. We'll be ready to roll sometime in the summer, and then really we'll be taking this to market as a product in the following year after that in 26.
All right, next slide. And this is sorry, we're going to skip over the video, Kelly, that's next. And then we'll go to the next slide after that.
We'll be launching all the videos in public in the spring.
Okay. So we're not done. Lots of exciting things on the go. Wanted to touch on some other things that we're working on as well. So trail development, we do see some potential here for regional tourism based on, we've talked to many of you about snowmobiles, ATVs, and interconnected trails. So I know there's a lot that we've put out for today, so I just wanted to more so just quickly touch on that. Frostival, our team is very busy getting that ready. So once again, we will near close to 200 different events taking place for Frostival, which is January 23rd to February 9th. Yes, January 23rd to February the 9th. Dine Around Freddy culinary program. 33 restaurants so far on board. So they are all around the Fredericton Capital Region. Couldn't be more excited about this in Frostival. So lots to be able to see and do, and really be able to ring that till in January and February during those cooler and tougher months. And then as well, we have our Dinners on Us. So that's our hotel packaging program. So we have more than 20 accommodations that are, or packages that are part of this. And they are also from all around the Fredericton Capital Region. And then last but not least, we opened up our new Visitors Information Center in June of this year. And it's right on Queen Street, which is fantastic because we are getting that street front access. And with that, it is now a year-round information center, as our offices are in the back of that. So we're seeing and welcoming visitors on a daily basis, and being able to counsel them around getting around the Fredericton Capital Region. And with that, thank you all of you for your patience with us on this presentation. And I can't wait to hopefully present in person in April. So thank you very much.
Okay, well, thank you again for the presentation. And I think we would be remiss in not saying I enjoyed the PGA event immensely, and was part of Rose's team that actually got to play, and we did okay. So she had a lot to carry that day, I can tell you that. So, but yeah. But anyway, and we enjoyed meeting. Dave came down for us to talk about the paddling, and that was awesome. And we're looking forward as our community to participate in all that we can. So thank you for the presentation. And is there anybody else that has questions?
Mr. Chair, maybe not so much. Oh, sorry. Is there somebody going to go there? Oh, go ahead, Dave.
Well, I was hoping Councillor Erickson was going to ask the same question about mandate letters. So I'm just going to take a softball hit here.
Well done, Dave.
The Tourism, Heritage, and Culture mandate letter was a little bit weak. The word tourism actually doesn't come into the letter. Economic returns as a result of tourism worth $1 billion in or more in New Brunswick is not referenced in the letter. So I was a little disappointed on that side. But the two areas that were referenced strongly in the Minister Theriault's mandate letter were culture. And obviously in tourism, we're able to leverage and market cultural development. So that's a good thing. But the one that'll interest you, I think, is trail development was specifically referenced in the mandate letter. In the context of health, I think it'll come as no surprise to you that the Liberal government has a strong emphasis on healthcare and reforming our healthcare system, and part of that is preventative healthcare, and that's how they're interpreting trail development. But I think everyone here on this call can agree that we can leverage that into trail development across the region and between communities. We had commissioned a very small report, which I'm going to send to John this week, from Murray Jamer, who I think you may have met through Gemtech. In this case, he's working alone. And we asked him to take a look at what it would take. Many of our trails outside the city of Fredericton are ATV trails and snowmobile trails, and they get very ribbed due to the use. So we asked Murray, first of all, how could you imagine extending our trail network? And secondly, is there a civil engineering solution that would allow all those uses, but a better consistency of product for hikers and bikers? And he's provided some solutions on, I'm not an engineer, but different granulars that might be applied in a pilot project, and then how we could sort of consider extending trails from the Fredericton city limits out, and then sort of increasingly, sort of like ripples when you throw a stone, expand our network through, deeper into the region. So I think there's some potential there very early on. It was just a bit of an exploratory piece, but I think it's one that individual communities and perhaps John might be able to leverage through the commission on trail development. So I just wanted to mention that.
Thanks. Okay, John, did you have something you were going to comment?
Mr. Chair, thank you very much through you to the members. I just want to say that there's a very good working relationship between Ignite and Fredericton Capital Region Tourism. We meet on a regular basis. There's a lot of conversations that I'm not part of. I don't need to be there in their business every day. They do a great job. But I just wanted to let everyone know that each time that we're asked or people are asking us, I think you mentioned it, Mr. Chair, about the teams going out to your communities, meeting in the communities, helping out. I know Member Meunier and his team just recently had a very successful conference in Arcadia, and the Ignite and the tourism teams have a lot of good synergy. Anytime I'm made aware of anything, or if there's an issue or anything, I just want to say that it is addressed and addressed quickly. I know that I called up to Stacy here not that long ago on an issue, and within 48 hours, meetings were set and there were conversations happening. There's always sometimes, we get we hear things and we want to address them quickly. And in all fairness to the people on the call here today or with us at this meeting, they do act quickly to address any issues. If you need to know what's happening in your area, if you hear anything, let us know. Sometimes it's just sometimes looking for it's a miscommunication or just an understanding of how the process actually works. So but I do want to thank them for their great work. They are responsive in our community and in our region. So
okay. Well, great. If there's nothing else, I want to thank you again for the great presentation and all the great work that you did last year, and looking forward to the upcoming year. And I would assume that we could leverage that as well on as a preventative side on the paddling network as the trails that we dictate out there as well. So And, you know, we'll need lots of activity and preventative maintenance here going forward. I can tell you that, so.
I'll use a little preventative maintenance on the health side.
I hear you. Okay, well, thank you very much for the presentation again. Thanks, Stacy.
Thank you.
And you're welcome to stay. So, oh, sorry, Mr. Chair, you're welcome to stay as well. So, Mr. Chair, I think for the end, to conclude the meeting, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we just had looking at if there was anything further, any direction to staff there today at the end of this meeting on any of the issues that we heard today.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think the best thing to do now is get the presentations and maybe make presentation to our own councils to see if there's you know, a path forward that they want to take individually, and then we could give direction to staff at that point. I would think that might be the best approach.
Right.
Unless other people have a altering opinion. And again, if you do, you got to speak up because I can't see you.
Yep. Mr. Chair, Greg Erickson speaking. I think that's an excellent way to move forward.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, actually, this is Susan. Actually, I think that is a great idea, and we actually have a meeting booked. I forget exactly when it is. If it's next week or the week after, with I think both Ignite and Fredericton Tourism. And actually, I was really quite excited today because one of our things we were interested in is trails. And now that we actually have property on the river that's within Hanwell, that's something we've been talking about, that we would like to look at areas where we could get some boat launches and promote business that way. So we're pretty excited about that part.
Great.
Yeah.
And Mr. Chair, if I may, just a little bit ago, I think Kelly, that message was sent on the trail plotting process that we're taking. Yeah, it was just sent out to the directors and everything to regarding we're working with Gemtech to plot the trails in the region. This will complement what the Capital Region Tourism is doing, and we'll be able to work together on that. And we were able to, the good news is on this, I was at a meeting recently with my counterparts from around the province, and we were talking about this, and we were able to convince our friends at the with Regional Development Corporation to pay for it. So, so it's not a huge amount of money, so don't get too excited. But they did offer to fund it for 100%. So on that, so yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess if nothing else further, I need a motion to adjourn.
Okay, I'll move we adjourn.
Okay, and we had a seconder, so we're adjourned.
Mr. Chair, I'd just like to apologize again there for not being at the office when you showed up. We kind of all took the advantage of the gloomy kind of day and said, we'll all jump on from home. It's going to be virtual. And like I say, anytime, just give us a little heads up, and we'll make sure they're, you know, if nothing else, you'll see me there. So
yeah, well, I had plans of being back home too, but I just my other meeting ran long, so I just happened to be here. So
not a problem.
It's all good. Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye
Thank
now.
you.
Have a good day.